Authorities say a very brave local resident, confronted the man. They fought, and the resident subdued the bad guy until the cops got there. Jason Walker reporting.
House Republicans' plan to vote on a bill regulating college sports has been scrapped due to divisions within their own caucus. There are bipartisan concerns over the influence that the SCORE Act, as it's known, would have given the NCAA and its most powerful programs. You'll find more on these stories at townhall.com.
When water troubles strike, call the family you can trust. Tim Jones here for Ambassador Plumbing, serving our community since 2018 with 25 years of master plumbing expertise from Tim Morris and his handpicked team. Whether it's a simple faucet repair or a complete bathroom remodel, if water runs to it or through it, they do it. From residential service calls to commercial to new construction, the folks at Ambassador are your neighbors treating you like family. Ambassador Plumbing, where faith meets craftsmanship. 636-383-6932 or ambassadorplumbing.com. That's ambassadorplumbing.com.
Hey, Jamie Allman here for O'Fallon Family Floors, O'FallonFamilyFloors.com. Brian and his team, they're just amazing people. They're so proud of their operation. Pride in every installation. You can see that in the Google reviews. Pride in the great quality, pride in the great pricing, pride in the great variety, and pride in the fact that you can go into the store right off of Highway K at O'Fallon, or the store will come to you. That's the promise of O'Fallon Family Floors, O'FallonFamilyFloors.com.
Why leave your company's story to chance? In today's digital world, video content isn't just an option. It's essential for your success. At Blue Ocean Media Group, we've spent decades crafting compelling visual stories for businesses just like yours. From concept to completion, our award-winning team transforms your vision into powerful video content that connects with your audience and drives results. Don't trust your brand to amateurs. Partner with Blue Ocean Media Group. Visit blueoceanmediagroup.com today, and let's bring your story to life.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Well, as you know, it's a cold one out there. Temperatures only into the low to mid 20s the next couple of hours, and we're looking at wind chills that remain in the teens under partly cloudy skies. A lot of high, thin clouds, but they're not going to produce any precipitation. Very cold again tonight, but not as cold tomorrow afternoon as we reach into the mid to upper 30s. There is a chance for some more ice and snow by Sunday. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of Colombo and Company brought to you by Gutter Pros. Water goes where we tell it. Call 314-656-7195 or visit them at gutterpros.com.
Bring joy to the world, it's the thing to do. But the world does not revolve around you. Don't be a jerk. It's Christmas. It's Christmas.
Happy holidays. Welcome to Colombo and Company on News Talk STL.
And indeed, welcome to Colombo and Company on this Thursday afternoon, this very, very cold Thursday afternoon. Pardon me, technical issues here. Welcome aboard. I'm Tony Colombo in studio with producer Ashlyn, and we have got a packed show for you today. Donald Trump signing a peace deal in Africa. We'll fill you in on the details of that. A big win for the president there. However, new polling out shows, and this has been something we've been talking about a lot lately. Talk about just like perfect timing. Just talking yesterday with Danny Define, News Talk STL contributor. We've talked a couple times lately with producer Emily from the Girl State documentary on Apple Plus. Part of our team here, but also very involved in politics for a person who's in college. And we've talked a lot about like the youth influence and how much the younger vote could play into the midterm elections coming up next year. And the first story there is about Donald Trump and a big win signing this peace deal in Africa, but also a major poll released today showing that the younger generation has abandon Donald Trump and the Republican Party, which is shocking to me because we've heard a lot of other stories, and maybe this is one of those deals where a poll is not what it appears to be. This generation, Gen Z, is much more conservative than the millennial generation before them, but not according to this poll. So we'll unpack that as we go through the afternoon as well. We've got the latest on what is happening in Minnesota with the charity theft being done up there right under the nose of Tim Walz. And we finally mentioned yesterday that, the Somali community up there is very involved in this story because it's been reported that it's basically a Somali gang or terrorist group that is behind, putting together this largest corruption of a charity in United States history. Ilhan Omar, congresswoman from Minnesota, who is also from Somalia, has been rather silent on this issue. She finally spoke up on the friendly airwaves of CNN. So we'll get to the latest on that story as we go through the day as well. We are going to talk to Dr. Randy Tobler from the Randy Tobler Show, which you can hear every Saturday morning, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. here on News Talk STL. He'll join us in a little less than an hour from now, just after 3 o'clock. Also in the 3 o'clock hour, speaking of Saturday morning programming, my co-host from the Bluff City Outdoors Show will be here in studio. So very much looking forward to that. Outdoors, it's cold out there. But we are in hunting season, and the fishermen are trying to get out there. If the water doesn't freeze, then the fishermen can go to work, but or go have fun. But with this, as cold as it has been, those freezing temperatures are definitely something that we have to deal with. So we'll talk about some of those outdoor activities, and we'll also talk some news and politics with those guys. Of course, Mark McMurray is a great friend and supporter of the station. And he's the owner of Bluff City Outdoors, and we don't talk politics or news on the Bluff City Outdoors Show, but we do here on Colombo Company. So it's our chance to talk with those guys from the Bluff City Outdoors Show about some the news of the day, as well as those outdoor topics. So that's all happening in the 3 o'clock hour. And coming up in just about 8 minutes from now, I almost said 6, 7, but I can't do that with my kids these days. It's like burned into my brain. We're going to be joined by Virginia Kruta from the Daily Wire. She'll be with us for most of this 2 o'clock hour. Lots to catch up with her about as well. Before we talk to Virginia, let's talk about Donald Trump. President hosted the leaders of Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo for the signing of the, quote, Washington Accords peace deal at the United States Institute of Peace earlier today, announcing that the U.S. will buy rare earth minerals from the two nations. Trump said the Washington Accords deal formalizes the terms the two countries agreed to in June. We reported on this in the summer. Again, a big win for the president here when it comes to striking peace in a part of the world in between two countries that have, not had peace for a very, very long time. Trump said the Washington Accords deal formalizes the terms the two countries agreed to in June, including a permanent ceasefire, the disarmament of non-state forces, provisions for refugees to return to their homes, and justice and accountability for those who have committed illegal atrocities. Quote, today, the United States is also signing our own bilateral agreements with the Congo and Rwanda that will unlock new opportunities for the United States to access critical minerals and provide economic benefits for everybody, the president told attendees. The presidents of both the Democratic Republic of Congo and the Rwandan president both thanked Trump and his administration for their efforts to end the conflict between their two nations in front of a, quote, delivering peace backdrop. So we'll see. A major peace deal like this struck by the United States president, I can't help but think, I don't know about you, but I look at the news all day, every day, and I barely ever see or a story like this about Donald Trump signing a peace deal, I can't help but think that this would be at the very front of the headlines if this was something that was accomplished by Joe Biden during his presidency. But wasn't a whole lot of these things that happened during the Biden administration. But it is definitely something that I think would be getting a lot more attention had it been a different president. But that's just my conspiracy brain at work there. Also today, the State Department, we talked about a travel warning that was issued yesterday for Americans and the world about traveling to Costa Rica. Today, the State Department renewed another travel advisory. It's do not travel advisory to Venezuela. The travel advisory was reissued last night with the State Department citing a myriad of high risks related to crime, terrorism, detention, and poor health infrastructure. Quote, all U.S. citizens and lawful permanent residents in Venezuela are strongly advised to depart immediately, the advisory says. In 2019, the U.S. severed diplomatic ties with Venezuela, closing its embassy. It says it no longer has the ability to provide emergency services or assistance to U.S. citizens in that country. Quote, there is no safe way to travel to Venezuela, the advisory states, adding that people should avoid traveling to the country by any means. Officials state that tourists have a very high risk of being detained, even if they accidentally step a few feet over the border. Quote, violent crimes such as homicide, armed robbery, kidnapping, and carjacking are common in Venezuela, unquote, according to the advisory. Back to the advisory, quote, travelers face an increased risk if using unregulated taxis from the international airport and using ATMs in that area, unquote. Dangerous Colombian terrorist groups operate in Venezuela's border areas with Colombia, Brazil, and Guyana, the advisory points out. Security forces have detained U.S. citizens for up to 5 years without respect for due process. Man, I'll tell you what, I talked about this yesterday when I was talking about the travel advisory to Costa Rica. That was not quite as heavy as this one for Venezuela, but it just shows you the state of the world. And in many places, the gangs, the terrorist groups that are in charge and have there's no accountability, and there's nothing stopping them from, that I don't mean to laugh, but that's just an incredible sentence as part of this travel advisory reissued yesterday about Venezuela, where it said that, what was it, a few feet? Yeah. Officials state the tourists have a very high risk of being detained, even if they accidentally step a few feet over the border. How bad of a situation? How many of these gang members, these terrorists are there that they were just waiting for you to take a few step a few feet across the border? That is just absolutely crazy. So, this is the second day in a row where we're reading one of these travel advisories. So it's something that you should be very, very aware of if you are somebody who is a world traveler. Me, I am fine staying right here in the United States. I said it yesterday. If I want to go to a tropical island, I'll go to the U.S. Virgin Islands, or I'll go to Hawaii. If I want to see snow, I'll go to Alaska, or I'll go to the Rocky Mountains. We've got it all, and I'm fine right here for now. Before we get Virginia on the line, I want to remind you that News Talk STL, us right here, are right in the middle of our holiday food drive. News Talk STL has teamed up with the St. Louis County Republican Central Committee for a food drive benefiting Feed My People right here in St. Louis. The food drive goes through December 21st, and you can find our holiday food drive barrels and make donations at all 3 Bartolino's locations, both Chris's Pancake and Dining locations, and all 3 Michael's Flooring outlet locations. All you have to do is go to our website, newstalkstl.com. Right there in the front of the main page of the website, you'll see a banner that says Holiday Food Drive. Click on that, and you can get the addresses to all these locations. Find the closest one to you. Gather up some stuff. Make a donation. You'll be helping people right here, local folks in need in the St. Louis area. You can learn more about the organization Feed My People. And of course, we want to thank our partners at the St. Louis County Republican Central Committee for teaming up with us for this holiday food drive. Again, go to newstalkstl.com to get all the details and to donate to the News Talk STL holiday food drive before it wraps up on December 21st. All right, we are going to talk to our friend Virginia Kruta from the Daily Wire. I want to talk to her about what's happening up there in Minnesota. Oh, it's the Italian Christmas song. Well done. Love it. I want to talk to her about the controversy surrounding Pete Hegseth right now over whether or not he did or didn't order the kill all survivors of counter narcotic strikes, whether or not he ordered that kill everyone order or not, kill them all quote is what the quote is actually. Trust me, Virginia can help make some sense of this. I'm not doing a very good job of it. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into the latest up there in Minnesota and more as we talk to Virginia Kruta from the Daily Wire next on Colombo Company.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. Whether at home or at work, you're mobile. So when you're mobile, stay mobile. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the News Talk STL app in the App Store or at newstalkstl.com.
License number E2014A.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Dad, that's what Grandpa Rip always said.
That's right. 50 years ago, Grandpa started Grasser, and whenever a customer called, he'd smile and say, "Hey, it's good to see you."
Hey, it's good to see you.
It was his way of treating people like neighbors, not numbers. That's why we still say it today.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Why are you going to work? It's Sunday.
It's a brand new show on News Talk STL. JC's Sunday Showgram.
It was 35 years ago this week. People all over the Midwest were anticipating a giant earthquake. The story of Dr. Ivan Browning. Plus, Roger Daltrey tells us about the tragedy of the 1979 Who concert in Cincinnati, and we crack open the Christmas library. All brought to you by the Weber Automotive Group.
Sunday morning, 7 to 9. Then podcast each Monday on newstalkstl.com. Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. It's only called STL Windows and Doors. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
Are you searching for an excellent new vehicle or a great deal on a used one? Then check out Tyler Trineri, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. Tim Jones here to tell you what loyal Tyler Trineri customers already know. Every new vehicle and select used ones come with an exclusive lifetime warranty. And Tyler Trineri has a service department second to none. I should know. I've been a loyal and happy customer for years. For the best price, selection, and the amazing lifetime warranty, check out Tyler Trineri today, right off Interstate 44 in beautiful Pacific, Missouri. Online at tylertrineri.com, tylertrineri.com.
Bells will be ringing, the sad, sad news. Oh, what a Christmas to have the blues.
Welcome back to Colombo and Company on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. I am Tony Colombo here in studio with producer Ashlyn, and joining us on the line now is our friend Virginia Kruta from the Daily Wire. Virginia, I hope you're staying warm wherever you are. Sounds like you're traveling. Stay warm, my friend, and thanks as always for your time.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm going to be out of town this weekend, so I'm hoping it brightens up a little bit, but I'm out of town for a swim meet, so I'll be inside, and I'll probably be complaining about the heat because it gets really.
It does.
Pool decks are no joke, man.
No, they are not. No, you are right. But I know it's competition, but it's always nice to be able to go swimming in the wintertime. So I hope that you have a good trip. I hope you have a good trip. So much I want to talk to you about. I wanted to get your opinion and kind of help you. You've got a couple stories about this up at the Daily Wire, a couple articles up right now at dailywire.com. So perfect timing to talk to you about what's happening with Pete Hegseth and the controversy surrounding him. So the latest is today, Admiral Mitch Bradley confirmed to lawmakers that the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, did not order all survivors of counter-narcotic strikes to be killed. An initial Washington Post report had claimed that Hegseth ordered those in charge of the counter-narcotic strikes to, quote, kill them all, leading Bradley to interpret this as orders to kill remaining survivors. Quote, the Admiral confirmed that there had not been a kill them all order and that there was not an order to grant no quarter, said Representative Jim Hines, Democrat from Connecticut, top Democrat on the Intelligence Committee, told reporters after a briefing with the Admiral earlier today. So let's take a step back from there. And can you just kind of, because I think this is one of those stories that maybe people have seen headlines on, but don't understand, where this all is coming from and what actions were being carried out by the War Department in this counter narcotics action. So can you just kind of take us back to the beginning and where this controversy is stemming from? And then, kind of also tell us your opinion on this from the view of somebody who has served, a veteran that would, have better insight than I think most on an issue like this.
I'm going to preface this with something that we've talked about before. I think that we do a disservice both to the American people and in particular to our military when we broadcast everything that the military is doing. Yeah. Because the average person does not have the stomach for what it takes to win a war. They just don't. Yeah. And so what happens is then you have average people insert their sensibilities into their evaluations of what's going on. And that's how you get dumb stuff like, well, if the 300-pound guy is charging you, why can't you just shoot him in the leg?
Right. Yeah. Did you even try to shoot the gun out of their hand before you killed them? Like that kind of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The really, really strategically impossible stuff. And the stuff that, you are taught when you shoot to kill, you aim center mass, and you don't double tap, you empty the magazine.
Yeah.
So this is stuff that the average person can't wrap their brain around and they don't want to see, and they shouldn't see it. That's not to say that the military is going to hide things. It's just that they are trained to deal with this on a day-to-day basis. It's the same reason that you don't put, a trained seamstress in an operating room. She might be able to sew a straight line, but not when there's blood everywhere, right?
It's a great point. I agree completely.
You're just not ready for this. So that said, the Washington Post comes out with this article, anonymously sourced, which again, anonymously sourced doesn't mean wrong. It just means that they can't go on record and say, for whatever reason, I'm the one who said this out loud. They come out with this article that says, okay, well, actually this drug boat that they hit it 2 times. And the second time they hit it, there were 2 survivors in the water, and the way it was painted, it was, these guys are hanging on to the wreckage for dear life. And
it depends on who you, it depends on who you listen to though, because there are Republicans out there, like one of the senators that said, these 2 guys were trying to flip the boat over and get back on it and continue their mission. So there's even mixed reports on.
So
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm just talking about what the Washington Post said.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. You're
so
exactly right.
If you go with what they said, that was the initial story was, hey, this is what happened. These guys are clinging to life, and dang it, Pete Hegseth gave the order to kill them all, and so there was another strike, and oh my gosh, this is probably a war crime, unless you believe that we're not at war with the drug cartels, in which case then it was just it was a crime before that anyway, and the first strike was bad and all this other stuff. So you got people like Mark Kelly saying that because Mark Kelly's got to do anything he can to distract from the fact that he went out and told a bunch of soldiers to question orders in real time, which is a whole different problem.
Yeah.
But so the Washington Post comes out with this article, and of course the talking heads on the Sunday shows were only too happy to pick up the bucket of water and keep carrying it. So they're all talking about how Pete Hegseth probably committed a war crime, and the View's like, oh my gosh, not only did Pete Hegseth do this horrible thing, but he set up a bunch of soldiers to take the fall for war crimes because they carried out the orders, blah, you know, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, come to find out, ABC has to like swallow the grenade last night. Martha Raddatz did it because Jonathan Karl was the one talking to her on Sunday about how this was probably a war crime and everything else. And she gets on and she said, well, it turns out that it looks like there were 2 survivors, but the sources familiar are now telling us that those 2 survivors were probably attempting to contact somebody. Whether or not they had a functioning radio, we don't know. But if they did, that's bad. We don't want them doing that because who are they going to contact? If they're drug runners, they're not calling for help. They're calling somebody else to come pick up the drugs.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
So, and it looks like on drone footage, apparently, we haven't seen this video yet, they were attempting to salvage cargo that had been lost overboard. So they're trying to pick up where they left off and continue the mission, right?
Yeah.
So apparently there was also an ongoing conversation with JAG, who is the Judge Advocate General, or the Navy's lawyers. And they said, well, if that is what they're doing, that like going after the drugs, trying to flip the boat over, whatever it is that they're trying to do to continue their mission, then yes, they are still considered enemy combatants and they are still a viable target. So this whole thing kind of blew up in the Washington Post face.
Yeah.
And you kind of knew it was coming because the New York Times would not repeat what what WAPO said.
Yeah.
They were like, it kind of looks like there was a second strike, but it's not clear who ordered it, et cetera, et cetera. And the thing is, the story that came out in the New York Times, they said, okay, well, apparently there was an order to destroy the drug boat, but there was no contingency order given to say, and this is how you proceed if you do not accomplish total destruction in the first strike.
I have so many.
So
questions. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yep. Go ahead.
That leaves it open to interpretation. So the person who is commanding the actual mission can say, okay, well, we delivered the first strike. We've disabled the boat. However, it looks like they're still trying to get help out here to continue this mission. What do we do now? And if they're talking to Judge Advocate General, they're going to get the information straight from the lawyers. They're going to say, okay, well, then you keep hitting them until the boat is sunk, because that was the mission. The mission statement is this: we haven't done it yet, therefore we keep going until we do. It's not complicated. And the best part of all of this, you know who Joey Jones is, right?
I've heard that name, but no.
He's a Fox News commentator.
Okay,
He's
yeah.
a Marine Corps veteran.
Yep.
He calls himself explosively retired because he's a double amputee. Anyway, he was on the Fox Big Saturday or the Big Weekend show on Saturday. So this is after the Washington Post report came out and before all of the hand-wringing on Sunday shows about how Pete Hegseth was a war criminal. Now, disclosure, Pete Hegseth and Joey Jones are friends. However, what Joey Jones said on Saturday night was, if you have enemy combatants in the water and you do not know if they have radio capabilities or the ability to continue to contact people in their network or continue their mission, then you assume that they can, and you treat them as enemy combatants and continue your mission.
So that's exactly where I was going with my first question, Virginia, is that, and it kind of goes back to
And
your
so
point.
5 days later, now
Yeah.
we have it looks like we actually have that scenario, that exact scenario. And this is why you have people like Joey Jones comment on what's going on with a military issue. And you do not have Whoopi Goldberg talking about what constitutes a war crime.
Right. Or just finishing your, why, as you just kind of pointed out, and it kind of goes back to what you said at the beginning about how, especially if it's not going to be reported evenly, how people don't even need to know the details of war, because war is ugly and it's harsh and it's terrible. The United States soldiers, the military that is involved in a strike like this, they don't know if they're going to be fired on. They don't know, their lives are just as much as at stake, but nobody talks about that. Why are we always so desperate to defend or justify the bad guys? And when it's so easy, there's so much common sense to just put yourself in that position. You're dealing with drug running terrorists that would really like for you to just be dead and gone out of the way.
Well,
but they want us to be super nice to them.
On the one hand, yes, I think they don't care if you die, but I think drug running terrorists really don't have a market if everybody dies.
Yeah.
So,
well, they don't want the United States. They don't want the United States military blocking their way, and I kind of mean this even more. I even need this more generically. I mean, you can apply this thought process, across the board. Like, go back to the situation in the Middle East. How the raping and killing and kidnapping of Jewish women and children and unarmed citizens. We don't talk about the terrors and how horrible that is. We only talk about how terrible it is, when the United States or Israel counter strikes. The whole idea, the desperation, like I said, to justify or defend the bad guys. I don't know where this has come from, because this is a new construct in the United States over the last 10, 15 years.
It is. No, it's not. It's longer than that. It's
Vietnam, maybe.
Go back to Vietnam. Go back even before that. Honestly, I think the United States kind of lost its stomach for war when Harry Truman dropped the bombs on Japan. And now, as a human person, I can understand that would tear you up, because he had to look at that and say, on balance, which is going to be the most dangerous thing? Because I don't know if you know this story, but they actually laid out a plan to attack the Japanese mainland. If they hadn't dropped the bombs, this was the plan. They were going to attack the Japanese mainland, and they always do estimates, like the number of casualties, the number of expected dead, or however that was going to play out. They said, okay, if we invade here, this is probably how many people we're going to lose trying to take this. And they were basing this on the way the Japanese were waging war, the kind of casualties they'd seen at Guadalcanal, at Iwo Jima, and at other, I can't think of the name, but at other islands in the Pacific where they had already done this. They're like, okay, if we invade mainland Japan, this is what happened. So you know what? The medal that is awarded to soldiers who are injured or killed.
You cut out just before the medal part. Say that one more time.
So the Purple Heart medal, you know what that is, right? Yep, it is. It's given to soldiers who are injured or killed in the line of duty.
Yep.
Right. So what they did when they laid out these estimates for the invasion of mainland Japan, and they made Purple Hearts. They actually had them pressed and made all the Purple Heart medals that they thought they were going to use.
Oh.
And then they ended up dropping the bombs on Japan. Wow. Since then, we have gone to Korea and lost hundreds and hundreds of men. We have gone to Vietnam and lost thousands of men. We have spent 20 years waging the war on terror, and then throw in, little skirmishes here and there in Sarajevo, in just all over the world, right?
Yeah.
We still have Purple Heart medals that were made for the mainland invasion of Japan.
Wow.
We have not gone through what we would have.
Wow.
And to the tune of
That's
hundreds
amazing.
of thousands, we still have that.
I had not heard that story. That's amazing.
So the point being that, yes, it will tear you up as a human being with some kind of empathy for other human beings to know that you gave the order that dropped those bombs on civilian populations in Japan. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Harry Truman, it is completely understandable that he was not ready to wage another war.
Yeah.
And the reason he fired Douglas MacArthur was that MacArthur wanted to continue down the total war path, and Truman's heart wasn't in it.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and
So-
and I think you make a great. I think you set up a great timeline of from that point on, the America's tolerance for war has dropped for very good reasons.
And then you throw in the fact that journalists are now giving us a front row seat to stuff that we were never supposed to see.
Yeah, yeah. But people don't consider the other side of the coin, which is those thousands and thousands of Purple Hearts, those thousands and thousands of deaths, more deaths of not just Americans, just humans, just more.
The reality is
more
that
destruction.
Quick, decisive, and dirty strikes now are almost always more effective than a long strategy. It's
and who uses those? And who uses
a quick and dirty plan executed now is better than the best plan executed next week.
And who uses those in today's world more than anybody? The terrorists and the drug runner.
Oh,
the quick, dirty attacks, because like you just said, because those are the most effective and the most safe for your side. But nobody ever takes both pieces of both sides of the coin into context when they're talking about this, at least in the mainstream media. We're talking to Virginia Kruta from the Daily Wire. What a perfect day to have Virginia for 2 segments, because there's so much more that I want to talk about. You mentioned Mark Kelly. I want to dig deeper into some of the things going on with Senator Mark Kelly as well. So we are going to keep Virginia Kruta on the line for another segment and continue the conversation next here on Colombo and Company.
To have the blue. My baby's
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com.
You wish me greetings once again.
On the next
Larry Connors, USA.
Today's story behind the story, looking for a killer. I end up in the police lineup. Witnesses point to me.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli here with our great friend Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management. Hi, Chris.
How are you, Vic?
I don't want to put anybody else down, but when you go up and visit you at Serenity Wealth, your place looks like home.
So a lot of financial advisory offices, they have, the big mahogany desk or the big marble entryways and things like that. The stock market channel on the TV when you walk in the door, right? That doesn't really drive a good conversation. Good financial guidance and advice starts with a good conversation. People are nervous. People are afraid to talk about finances, right? And so you can see a little standoffish. Well, my objective is to try to have a good casual conversation. By having those conversations about life, goals, objectives, it's what makes me understand what our financials are supposed to fund.
So if somebody does want to have a good conversation, how do they do that? How do they find you?
Our website is the best way to do that, because you can get all the information you need, understand where we are, get a little bit more information, all that. SerenityWealthNow.com.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Johnny Tobacco, host of The Wise Guys on Newsmax.
Jerome Powell, to me today, sounded like a man with a big load of turd in his pants because that statement today looked like a hostage video. It looked like he didn't want to say he might change policy, but he knew he had to because the market is looking at him with some really evil eyes.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Susie Moore with a reminder that for 20 years, Harpo's Chesterfield has been the heart of West County's fun. With their award-winning patio, voted best in West County, and excellent sports bar atmosphere, Harpo's is your one-stop destination. The mouth-watering menu has made them famous throughout St. Louis. Plus, they've got great drink specials and the friendliest, most energetic staff around. Whether you're dining in or carrying out, Harpo's delivers fun, food, and drinks like no one else. Harpo's Chesterfield. Call 636-537-1970 or visit harposstl.com.
This hour of Colombo and Company brought to you by Gutter Pros. Water goes where we tell it. Call 314-656-7195 or visit them at gutterpros.com.
Wow. Welcome back to Colombo and Company on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. I'm Tony Colombo in studio with producer Ashlyn. We are going to talk to Dr. Randy Tobler just here in about 17 minutes or so, just after 3 o'clock. And talk to Dr. Randy Tobler, of course, from the Randy Tobler Show, which you can hear every Saturday morning, 6 to 9 a.m. here on News Talk STL. Also in the 3 o'clock hour, we're going to talk to my co-host from the Bluff City Outdoors Show, which you can also hear on Saturday mornings, 11 a.m. here on News Talk STL. Right now, however, we continue the conversation overtime with Virginia Kruta from the Daily Wire. Virginia, thank you so much for sticking around on such a busy day like this to put in a little overtime and continue this conversation. We're talking about Pete Hegseth. We're talking about the military. We're talking about this report about the strikes against this drug boat. But I want to kind of expand the conversation. You mentioned Mark Kelly, who's been one of the vocal critics of Pete Hegseth, specifically in this story. And you also mentioned, he's probably getting involved with this because he's trying to do anything to get his name associated with anything but being one of the people who told American soldiers that they don't have to obey orders last week. I want to dig into that in a second, get the latest on that. But in first, I just want to ask you, as a veteran, and you, Virginia, you and other veterans that are regulars on this program that are friends of mine that I talk to all the time, you're very honest, and you don't hesitate to critique or call out leaders or members of the military when they are, when you believe that they are, in the wrong, but it's always with respect, and it's always with the goal of, protecting the integrity of the U.S. military, not trying to tear it down. And almost every veteran that I know, even veterans that I know that are very liberal, that are not conservative by nature, they may be critical of the military, but only because of the integrity that they want that they want to protect. So with that in mind, can you even put yourself in the mind space of a person like Mark Kelly, who has a long military career, is now a United States senator, a person who is supposed to be a leader that is protecting the country, that is, trying to benefit the military, who seems like he just, at every opportunity that he can get, he wants to attack the United States Armed Forces and tear them down. I haven't served, so I can't take it personally, but I do find it to be pretty gross the way that Mark Kelly has handled himself recently. What do you think about in general the behaviors of Mark Kelly? We'll get into some of the specifics in a minute, but just a person at that level that can be so I don't know, attack the military with,
Right.
seemingly no problems, no issues in his own mind.
I think if you were to ask Mark Kelly, he would tell you that he's only being critical of Pete Hegseth and
Trump,
Donald Trump.
Yeah, right.
Like the Trump administration, because if you look at the video that he made with the 5 others, what they said skirted the legal line. So it was kind of like, okay, that if you're given an unlawful order that you don't actually have to follow that. In fact, it's your job to say something about it. That is correct. However, the insinuation was obvious. You're going to get an illegal order from Donald Trump or Pete Hegseth. Will you have the backbone to not follow through with it? That was the subliminal message.
Yeah, it was a
Challenge.
challenge.
You either already have gotten an illegal order, or you're going to get one because these are the people who are in charge of you. Now, if you also look, there was an interview that he did. I can't remember which one it was because he's been everywhere. But somebody asked him, I think it was Kristen Welker, if you were given this order to strike the drug boats, would you do it? And Mark Kelly says no, he wouldn't, or at least he wouldn't have ordered the second strike. And he also claimed, or he kind of sidebarred, and he's like, I've sunk 2 ships when we were at war in the first Gulf War, and this, that, and the other. And the thing is, I'm not going to denigrate Mark Kelly's service, because by all accounts, he was a good commander in the Navy. He did a good job. He did what he was supposed to do. He showed up when he was supposed to show up. I'm not going to say anything about that.
So what happened? Trump derangement syndrome?
Thing.
What happened to him?
Well, I mean, look at John McCain. This is a guy who was captured and held prisoner, and when they found out he was the child of an officer, and they tried to let him go, and he wouldn't go unless they let the other guys who were imprisoned with him, he wouldn't go. John McCain is a legit war hero. However, you cannot hide behind that to then say you're not allowed to criticize anything he's done since. You can have a perfectly good and respectable service record and deserve credit for that, but then also be a lousy human being outside of your service. And I think that's what we're seeing from Mark Kelly, because politics is driving him more than love of country at this point. When he was serving in the military, I would have said the opposite, probably.
Yeah. Well,
and you see a lot of people who do this, who, when they're serving, you can't say anything bad about their service. And that's fine. I think it's great. I think it's great that they at least gave that measure to the country. I don't think they're doing it now.
No.
And I don't think that it's wrong to say that, because you had Republicans even saying, well, you can't criticize John McCain because X, Y, Z. Oh, yes, I can. I can criticize him because, look, I'm not saying that his service wasn't valuable.
Right.
I'm saying that his service is not a, what do you call it?
It doesn't give you a pass. It doesn't give you a pass for the rest of your life.
Well, right. You can't say, like, there are plenty of people who have done great things and then also done bad things. I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. Anthony Irvin. I'm going to go to swimming for this, okay?
All right.
Anthony Irvin tied for the gold in the 50 freestyle in Sydney, Australia in 2000. And then he dropped off the face of the earth, dabbled in drugs, made some really horrible life decisions, had some really, really major issues, came back and won gold again in Rio in 2016. Do those gold medals erase the bad things that he did?
Right. Of course not.
No.
Right.
No, and he would tell you exactly the same. He actually wrote a book about it and said, look, I was stupid. I did all these things because I thought that, you know, I could, here I was on top of the world, and, you know, but it wasn't what I thought.
But Mark
Well,
Kelly
you can-
knows, Virginia, and I'm going to cut you off. We only have a few minutes left, and I want to make
Yeah.
this point and get, you know, because I want to get your thoughts
Sure.
on it. Mark Kelly knows that if somebody, a Republican senator or congressman or woman that was also a veteran, had they done the exact same thing, flip test this. If they'd done the exact same thing during the Biden administration, Mark Kelly would have been at the front of the line of people saying, how dare you, especially with your military service, how dare you say that you don't, you know, you make this inference and you tell these soldiers that they don't have to follow illegal orders. He would be at the front of the line, and he knows that. But yet it's just as simply, I mean, we're going to talk to Dr. Tobler here in a few minutes. I've told him before, he needs to really somebody needs to really make Trump derangement syndrome a real medical official illness, because is that really the reason for this, for the hypocrisy involved? Because Mark Kelly wouldn't have stood for this if a Republican had done it during the Biden administration.
Well, I mean, think about there were Republicans who complained about the Obama administration droning American citizens, which I would argue is a larger violation than going after drug runners that are not American citizens.
Right.
Like, are we really going down this road, guys? And
yes, they are.
Well, and what's funny is that Leon Panetta was actually on some show on MS Now, which, you know, MSNBC rebranded, right?
Right.
But
still not used
Leon
to that.
Panetta was on talking about how Pete Hegseth definitely committed war crimes. Well, wasn't he in charge of the CIA when they were droning American citizens abroad? Like,
yeah.
Remind me why I'm supposed to take this guy seriously.
Yeah. The hypocrisy is
I mean, the last
unreal.
time he was in the news, he was signing off on that letter calling the Hunter Biden laptop Russian disinfo.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Virginia, even with 2 segments, unfortunately, time flies and we are just about out of time. Thank you so much for putting in a little extra time with us this afternoon. And of course, you can hear Virginia every Thursday with us here on Colombo and Company, and also every day at thedailywire.com. Check out her articles every day on the Daily Wire. Virginia, thanks so much for your time. Have a safe trip, and we'll talk to you again soon, my friend.
Sounds good.
Thank you. All right. Great stuff there, as always, from Virginia Kruta. As I mentioned, coming up in the 3:00 hour, we are going to talk to Dr. Randy Tobler. He'll be with us here in just a few minutes. Dr. Tobler, of course, the Randy Tobler Show, you can hear every Saturday morning, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. And then also in the 3:00 hour, we're going to talk to my co-host from the Bluff City Outdoor Show, another show you can hear on Saturday mornings here on News Talk STL. Best way to make sure that you never miss any of this great programming is by subscribing to our podcasts. Of course, this show, Colombo and Company, we put it out as a podcast right after we get off the air every day on basically every podcast platform. So wherever you get podcasts, whatever platform that is, make sure you're subscribed to Colombo and Company, and also the Bluff City Outdoor Show and the Randy Tobler Show and all the other shows here at News Talk STL. All right, I mentioned there's a new poll out that says that young Americans are fleeing Donald Trump, supporting him at least. We'll talk about that and more with Tobler next.
Craving authentic Cuban flavors? Come home to Havana 1961, where family recipes passed down through generations come to life in every bite. From chef and owner Mama Maria's famous Cuban sandwiches to classic entrees bursting with bold, fresh flavors, we bring the warmth and tradition of Havana right here to Missouri. Havana 1961, where great food, culture, and community come together. On Main, in St. Peter's, or at Havana1961.com. We welcome you like familia.
Are the days of a personal doctor gone? Not at Body of Health Direct Primary Care.
I'm Dr. Randy Tobler to share how our design is putting the care back into healthcare. Plain and simple, our members, not insurance companies, get our exclusive focus. That means same or next day appointments, responsive answers to your concerns, and a no-spin, big tool chest approach. It's about time you get serious time devoted to your medical needs. To learn about healthcare the way it ought to be, schedule a discovery call today at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
Step into a Norman Rockwell Christmas. Augusta's 43rd annual Candlelight Christmas Walk lights up the town the first 2 Fridays in December, 5 to 10 p.m. Over 1,000 luminaries guide your way to visit Santa at Town Hall, explore the Christmas market, enjoy wine and spirits tastings, and shop local vendors. Warm up by the bonfire, savor street food, and enjoy live music under the glow of candlelight. It's the ultimate holiday throwback. Vendors, sign up at AugustaChamber.org.
Attention established cosmetologists. Ready to be your own boss? The Nook is seeking 2 talented professionals for a fresh start in your career. Get your own dedicated workspace with full creative control and endless financial opportunities. Just $150 weekly, plus 2 weeks of free rent every year to use however you want. And here's the best part. Mention News Talk STL and get your 3rd month absolutely free. Your new professional home is waiting at the Nook in O'Fallon Plaza. Call 636-385-6665.
KLGY HD3 Clay, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
At Town Hall, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. A man arrested by the FBI in connection with the pipe bombs that were placed in Washington, D.C. before the January 6, 2021 riot at the Capitol has been identified now as Brian Cole Jr., FBI Director Kash Patel.
On a case of massive public importance, as it should be, an individual who is now alleged to have placed multiple explosive devices to blow up multiple people and multiple officials, innocent civilians, is now arrested thanks to the brave men and women of the FBI and the interagency.
The pipe bombs were placed on January 5th of 2021 near the offices of the Democratic and Republican National Committee offices. President Trump today hosted the Congolese and Rwandan presidents for a deal signing aimed at securing a peace in eastern Congo.
It is an amazing day, great day for Africa, great day for the world, and for these 2 countries, and they have so much to be proud of. And I want to thank the leaders. I want to thank you very much.
The White House lauds the peace signing as historic. It also opens up access to eastern Congo's critical minerals for the U.S. government and American companies. Mike Lindell, the CEO of MyPillow and a prominent Trump ally, has filed paperwork to run for governor of Minnesota in 2026. U.S. applications for unemployment benefits fell to their lowest level in 3 years last week. Meanwhile, another decline in mortgage rates.
Mortgage rates head lower. Mortgage buyer Freddie Mac says the average rate on a 30-year mortgage fell this week to 6.19%. This is the 2nd straight drop after 3 straight increases. The average rate is now at its lowest level since the last week of October and near its low point for the year. When mortgage rates decline, they give homebuyers more purchasing power. Several housing economists are forecasting that the average rate on a 30-year mortgage will remain slightly above 6% next year. I'm Alex Vega.
More from townhall.com.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for health care. And here's why. This time of year is decision time for a lot of people, but it's also when you can join MediShare and save even more than usual. For many families, joining MediShare means saving about $500 a month, which is a game changer for a lot of people. More than 1 million people are part of healthcare sharing now because it just makes so much sense right now. And MediShare is the gold standard. Members like it a lot. We know this from member surveys. MediShare has been around for over 30 years. It is a proven thing. And if you join before December 15th and you mention the promo code SHARE, they'll waive your application fee. So you save $100 right off the bat. I'll give you the number here in a second, but just call. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. And again, the deadline's December 15th. Call now. You'll save even more. Here's the number. It's 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE. 844-41-BIBLE.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. We've got another cold night tonight. A little colder, low down to 11 degrees, light winds in the morning, and then a high of 38 in the afternoon. It does warm up above freezing, mostly sunny skies, turning cloudy in the evening. Saturday, mostly cloudy, a high of 36. And watch for a wintry mix. Could be a cold rain. We'll have to watch for a potential of maybe a brief period of some freezing rain Sunday morning, then turning over to some light snow or flurries in the afternoon with a high of 35 and above freezing for the day. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Fox News Commentary with Tommy Lahren next.
If a Lenovo computer for your business is on your holiday list, don't shop around. Just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com. It's your last chance to get exclusive deals on the PCs you want for your business, like the ThinkPad X9 14 Aura Edition and Yoga 7i 2-in-1. So avoid all that shopping chaos and price comparing, and just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com, where PCs are up to 35% off. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. Here's Tommy Lahren.
So the Afghan national who murdered at least one National Guard soldier was allowed entry into this country under the Joe Biden auto pen regime and his Operation Allies Welcome. He was supposedly vetted, though that's a crock because even under the best of circumstances, you can't vet people from war-torn terrorist backward nations where they keep no valid records and whose main and perhaps only export is terrorism. And let's be honest, the auto pen regime didn't even try. The protocol after that botched withdrawal from Afghanistan was to basically load every Tom, Dick, Harry, and Mohammed onto a plane and hope for the best. The directive was to err on the side of excess. Well, excess is what we got, all right? Thanks a million, or I guess I should say thanks 190,000, because that's how many they brought over here that we know of.
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
The far left wants to destroy conservative values in America.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home.
This is News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton, and we're proud to be the official winter weather source for News Talk STL. The First Alert Weather Team is working hard to keep you ahead of the big weather changes and help you plan your day. So stay connected this winter with Channel 4 and News Talk STL.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
Thanks for being my voice in all this.
This is News Talk STL.
There are people out there that feel the way that I feel and say what I say.
Welcome home.
Lost in a dream.
I
don't know which
way to go. Welcome back to Colombo Company on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. Thanks again to Virginia Kruta from the Daily Wire for joining us for the majority of that 2 o'clock hour. Great conversation, great insight from Virginia on these military issues that are making headlines today. We are, in this hour, going to talk to my co-host from the Bluff City Outdoors show, Mark McMurray from Bluff City Outdoors. Local professional fisherman Mike Marfell will both be in studio. And right now, joining us on the line, speaking of that great Saturday morning programming, Bluff City Outdoors show at 11 a.m. on Saturdays, 6 to 9 a.m., the Dr. Randy Tobler show with Dr. Randy Tobler, who is on the line with us now. Doc, thanks as always for your time, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing well. How's it going?
You know, just another day trying to drink from the fire hose and,
there you go.
And keep up with everything happening in this world. So we talked a lot about what's going on with Pete Hegseth and, that situation and the Mark Kelly and the orders and all the military stuff that's happening in that 2 o'clock hour with Virginia. So I wanted to change gears a little bit here with you, Doc, and visit something that it's kind of ironic that this headline came out today, because just yesterday with News Talk STL contributor Danny Define, and also in recent shows, we have been talking a lot on this show about the upcoming midterm elections and kind of like the momentum as we end 2025 going into 2026, like, does the president have the wind at his back? Do the Republicans have momentum? Do they have, or vice versa? Do they have their work cut out for them going into the midterms? And there's been a lot that our guests have brought up about the younger generation and Gen Z. And there's been reports, and we did a story about how Jake Tapper on CNN was talking about how Gen Z is more conservative than millennials were, possibly, previous generations. But then today, so with all that conversation already happening, then today a headline drops, young Americans feeling the country is off course and their futures unstable are deeply pessimistic about the nation's two major political parties. So they don't like Republicans or Democrats, but specifically this poll, which is the 51st edition of the Harvard Youth Poll, which was released just today. It also indicates that Americans age 18 to 29 heavily disapprove of President Donald Trump's job performance. So all this talk that we've had recently on this show about how young Americans, Gen Z, is more engaged than maybe generations of the past, especially, early in life in their late teens and early 20s, and how they're more conservative than those previous generations. But then this poll comes out today and kind of tells a different story, that the youth are very disenfranchised with the president. How do you feel? We'll get into some of the details of this, but I think that's plenty of a long-winded setup there, Doc. Well, how do you feel about where we're at going into 2026, specifically with that younger voting bloc that will obviously play a huge role in the midterms?
Well, look, I think that we have to be cautious on the right and conservatives of listening to our echo chamber and being infatuated with what was happening in the wake of Charlie Kirk's murder and some of the revival and return to spirituality that we've seen. I imagine that the numbers of those people, the young people that are part of that movement, is dwarfed by the people who are indoctrinated with government schools, who have at least 50% of them or more, depending on the demographic, have lived in single parent households largely led by women. That's the reality. Women have largely tacted more and more and more to socialist, pro-government redistributionist policies. I don't blame them. If you're trying to run a household and you're struggling, and one party, says they're going to provide goodness for you, and the other party says, well, you got to, rely on yourself and your family and your community and your God. A lot of people are going to say, I'm sorry, I got to put food on the table. And if Biden or Obama or Gavin Newsom or Governor Shapiro is going to put food on my table, that's looking pretty good to me. I'm just telling you the reality. I think that we have to be careful of listening to our wonderful echo chamber of young people that are conservative, and many of them work at this station, and I'm thankful for that.
So,
but I really do believe, and again, this is a Harvard poll, right?
Yes.
So I'd like to know how the question was asked.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Is it his job performance? Is it like, Chris? Let's subdivide that into, how do you feel he has done with law and order, and do you feel safer under him or not? Forget about whether you think troops should be in the street. Do you feel safer or not?
Yeah.
Do you feel as though if you're a woman on a college campus, that it's more or less likely that an illegal immigrant will kill you or rape you or both, under Donald Trump's immigration policy and border policy? Those questions, I guarantee you, weren't asked. It was his job to perform. And I will guarantee you that if you could get into the heads of the people that said, I don't like Donald Trump, they don't like Donald Trump's demeanor. There's times, Tony, that I can't stand. I wouldn't want to walk across the room to shake that man's hand some way the way he behaves. Okay. So we've got to separate out. And I don't think young people, being the lovers that they are, oh, we are the world, big kumbaya hug. And that's good. We get cynical as we get older. Maybe there's a reason for that. But I'm just saying, this is the community of people who loves social interaction and relationships. And, it's wonderful. Get out the lollipops and rainbows and the unicorns. Trump is not a lollipop and unicorn and rainbow and, sit down and work on your laptop at the Starbucks guy. That's not Donald Trump. So I think they may be conflating his character and his demeanor with his performance. That's my speculation.
Yeah, and we don't need the lollipops and rainbow person in charge of this world right now. We need somebody tough. I agree with you. I'm not certainly not sticking up for everything Donald Trump does and says, because there's plenty that I'm critical of. But I'll tell you what, I'd much rather prefer him, sitting in that seat than somebody like Joe Biden. And to your point, as you go through this poll, yeah, it does look bad for Trump. His overall approval rating is down to 29%. Again, this is the Harvard Youth poll, which was released today, and it deals with Americans between the ages of 18 and 29. Trump's approval rating down to 29%. His handling of the economy stood at just 26%, which that makes me question, how much these kids are paying attention, because according to Paul Kurtman, who you know well, and who's our economic expert here on this show, joins us every Monday, has talked about how, through all the turmoil, Donald Trump's actually done a pretty good job with this economy. Not perfect, certainly, but, much better than 26%, I would say. But then also, as you read this and you go further, it's not much better for anyone else. The approval rating for congressional Democrats is just 27%. That's actually a lower approval rating than the president's 29%, and Republicans in Congress at 26%. Sounds like the young people, according to this survey, are disenfranchised with everybody, Doc. And I can see that point. Like just being like, just thinking they're all bad and corrupt. I can understand that perspective way more than I can say, blaming it on one side. So that makes a little more sense to me. Your thoughts?
You're right. And I agree with you. I mean, I think that, look, they're just unhappy with the present circumstance of the country and the way it's going. Mm-hmm. And of course, when they can't afford to buy a house, and even if their monthly house payment would be less than their present rent payment, they don't have the down payment, right? So I get that. Look at what's happened to prices all across the board. Energy prices are going crazy, and it's not going to get cheaper with AI data centers popping up everywhere. And so, unless they get off their butts up in Congress and decide to do nuclear energy, I mean, what kind of numbskulls are there? We should be building modular nuclear plants. I just can't believe it. What's going on? Yeah. At any rate, sorry for the diversion there, but
you're good.
So given their reality, I don't blame them for being upset, which is why I am praying. I am on my knees praying for a libertarian-minded, conservative, AOC-esque from a demeanor standpoint, someone that really razzmatazzes that young group. I mean, frankly, she doesn't razzmatazz anything about me, but whatever. I don't get it. You know what I mean? I'm starting to recognize that this is the influencer generation. There's reasons they're influencers, right? Because people are easily influenced in that generation. And so I'm praying for someone that will call out the establishment, which is increasingly becoming MAGA at this point, right? Donald Trump's going to give $1,000 to every baby. Only if you were born from January 1st, 2025 till the end of it. Wow, talk about picking losers and winners. That sounds to me sort of like, I don't know, sort of like student loan forgiveness. Sounds like a lot of things that both parties, all populists, want to hand out stuff from the government to make your life better. And anytime that a politician basically has told me that they're going to do anything but get out of the way while they're smiling and telling me they're going to make my life better, they end up stabbing me in the back. And I think, where is the messenger on the conservatarian right who can deliver that message? Is it a Tommy Lahren? I don't know. Is it who is it?
I don't know, but I'm praying with you, and I've been, we could go way off topic on this, and I'm always right on the edge of a rant about the two-party system, and but it just gets you nowhere. I've said it for years. We don't all fit 360 million people don't fit in two columns. And certainly when those columns are getting more and more rigid, as you mentioned, on the conservative side, if you're either MAGA all the way or you're going to have problems. And if you're on the left, you are either more progressive than any, than Democrats maybe have been in my entire life, or you don't fit in. So you're either, you either hate cops, you hate the military, you hate the country, essentially, and you're pro-criminal, and you want to eliminate borders. So you're either, if you're on the left, you have to be that extreme, or if you're on the right, you have to, you have to not question anything that's done by the president or the leaders in the party. And that we just don't all fit in those two columns. I would love to see a, like you said, conservatarian or a more libertarian candidate gain steam, but that doesn't happen. Look, we've seen it. We've definitely seen it on the Democratic Party. Let me call, somebody get Bernie Sanders on the phone. If you don't fit, if you don't fall in line with the party leadership, they're not, you're not going to get supported. A libertarian mind is not going to win the Republican presidential nomination anytime soon. So
no, you're right.
Again, I don't want to go, totally off, out there with this conversation, but I don't know. I think more than ever, we need more choices in this country when it comes to
and here's the thing to talk about this generation who has a righteous indignation about their country and how they've grown up. They grew up largely, they were born around maybe shortly before 9/11. Then came the Great Recession, which really sucked for everyone. And they saw parents maybe in upside down homes and not being able to pay the mortgages. They then, they've just seen a lot. They've seen COVID. They've just seen a lot of negative stuff going on. Meanwhile, politicians that claim to have the answers have not had the answers. Now, you and I both know, and most of the people listening to this program both know, that they never will have all the answers. People have to turn their eyes heavenward. That's where the answers are. But since we need to have civil government, with the last time I counted, what are there, 18 enumerated powers? I mean, how many do they have now? Thousands and thousands and thousands. Here's the deal, though. Now, did you see the ADP payroll data today?
No.
So the ADP payroll people came out and they said that in November that there was a net loss of 32,000 workers. But wait, it gets better. Small business shed 120,000 workers, while the establishments that were larger businesses posted gains of 70,000. Meaning, big conglomerates. Are you hearing big parties? I am. Mm-hmm. Big conglomerates and capitalism on crony steroids are doing just fine, Tony. Those are not the people that hire entry-level Gen Zers. It's the small business. So now they're looking at small business, and their poor small business guy that's under 50 by this definition. Maybe they're working at an upstart Starbucks, coffee shop, competitor. Maybe they're working some jobs for a contractor. And the contractor, they see the contractor biting their nails to a quick. They see the contractor, looking like death warmed over, trying to figure out how they're going to make payroll because of tariffs, because of shutdowns. And I'm sorry, whether you like tariffs or not, it's a government intrusion on my small business if I'm a small businessman. The shutdown gives me a lot of uncertainty if I'm a contractor, if I'm depending on supply lines. It's just, and they're looking at this and they're going, my God, you people, and especially you older people, what have you done to us? I don't blame them. I just don't want to see a reactive, radical Che Rivera kind of a thing. That's what I don't want to see, where we see some kind of radical, progressive communist like Mamdani. That scared the hell out of me. And I'm afraid it could happen on a national level.
Talking to Dr. Randy Tobler, Randy Tobler Show every Saturday morning, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. here on News Talk STL. Doc, only a couple minutes left here. In the coming weeks, as we wrap up this year, we're going to be, a lot of our conversations, I'm going to be asking you to to give your grades, of the president or Republicans and, how they've done this year. And we'll, look forward to the next year. So to kind of get, just to kind of, get that ball rolling right now, as it's early December, heading into this holiday season. We're wrapping up the year. Just in general, do you feel like the Republicans and this president has momentum, the wind at their backs going into 2026 in the midterm elections? Or do you think that they have a lot of work to do and a big hill to climb if they want to hold on to power in November.
I'm going to be giving dual grades this year,
Yeah.
and on the order of managing. How are they managing, and how are they leading? I think they're managing probably on a C basis, B or C. I think they're leading on an E and F basis. I don't think they're teaching well. Good leaders teach and engage and inspire people. They don't just manage what is and give handouts and one program. And this, this baby handout thing is driving me crazy. I mean, I can't believe it. The plan, the investment plan for kids is a wonderful idea. Dumping $1,000 into just a few people's pockets is not a good idea.
Yeah.
But that said, I'm hoping that that there's enough of an economic trade wind that develops with maybe people realizing their taxes aren't going up. Some people's taxes will go down with overtime and stuff. I'm hoping that which was a beautiful thing, that's fine. Although it was a winners and losers thing. It was a winners and losers thing, but that's okay. I'll take it. I'm hoping that the economy stays up and has enough headwinds enough tailwinds that it can propel them with some serious positive rhetorical leadership that they can eke their way to maintaining the majority. At this point, I give that about a 50-50 chance.
Dr. Randy Tobler, great stuff as always, my friend. Tune in to this and every Saturday morning at 6 a.m. for the Randy Tobler Show. And, of course, every morning across the state of Missouri with Wake Up Missouri. Doc, I don't know how you keep up with all of it and and keep your practice open as well, but we certainly appreciate that you make a few minutes of time available for us each and every week, and we'll be tuning in this Saturday morning, Doc. Thanks so much for your time.
I wouldn't miss it. Thank you, Tony. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet. Great stuff there, Dr. Randy Tobler. All right, and as I mentioned, speaking of Saturday morning programming, my co-hosts from the Bluff City Outdoors Show, which you can hear every Saturday morning, 11 a.m. here on News Talk STL, are in studio. We'll talk to those guys next on Colombo Company.
Follow Tony Colombo on Twitter at Tony Colombo Talk. If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new News Talk STL app.
And listen anytime, anywhere.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
Let's begin with a question that has a standard answer. In this case, focusing on Minnesota Governor Walz. How can you tell if he's lying? His lips are moving. Well, currently he's acting concerned about rampant fraud inside the state's Somalia communities. Investigators reporting $1 billion stolen from the state autistic child program, stolen by Somalians who set up phony autistic help programs. In one case, a husband and wife raking in $7 million, working only from their house in a mailbox. That kind of theft doesn't happen with the flick of a switch. And in fact, nearly 500 in the Minnesota State Department of Health said we've been pointing to this fraud for years, but Governor Walz ignored, even retaliated against the whistleblowers. Walz denies the allegation, which means his lips are moving, which means, yeah, you're right. And on top of that, his administration did allow fake truck driving schools, illegals getting fake commercial licenses, free to roam the state of Minnesota and our country. What does Governor Walz have to say about the fake phony driver's license? His lips are moving again. There's your answer.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
In all these years that Wellington Environmental has been my sponsor, I've never mentioned their duct cleaning services. Allergy season is here, and Wellington crews clean air ducts daily in homes and commercial buildings, also cleaning air handling units and diffusers in commercial facilities.
Why? Well, because people will see black dirt and mold on the vents, or they are actually suffering from allergies. Don't be fooled by low-cost duct cleaning providers saying they charge only per vent, because once they get on site, the price will skyrocket. Wellington does not do this, never has. Wellington will give you an estimate, and you say Larry Connors, and immediately you get a 20% discount. Call Cindy, 314-644-4930, 314-644-4930. Make your home and business better, safer with Wellington. Be well with Wellington.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 2 times every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. You could also reach Doug at 844-6766. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
Dr. Draghi and his team at Esquire Sports Medicine get pros back on the field so they can certainly help you. You need an MRI, X-ray, CAT scan, pre- or post-surgery treatment, rehab. The chiropractic physicians at Esquire can help you or connect you to experts you need. And I know you're hurting right now. You don't want to wait. Esquire sees new patients often within 24 hours. EsquireSportsMedicine.com.
On the next
Larry Connors USA.
Today's story behind the story, looking for a killer. I end up in the police lineup. Witnesses point to me.
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Man, Steve Winwood is so good. Talk about an underrated 80s, 90s artist. Welcome back to Colombo Company on 101.9, 94.1.
Don't get me started talking on music, Tony.
We can talk about music. We can talk about anything we damn well want to talk
with your young producer, we could go for days in here.
That's all right. Welcome back to Colombo and Company. I'm Tony Colombo. Producer Ashlyn is in studio, and also now my co-host from the Bluff City Outdoor Show, which you can hear every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. here on News Talk STL. Local professional now.
Yeah, that sounds right.
That's what he is. Local professional fisherman, Mike Marfell.
Thank you, Tony. Good to see you, buddy.
The owner of Bluff City Outdoors, Mark McMurray. How are you, my friend?
It's good to be back, Tony.
Yeah. So I mentioned earlier when I was talking about how you guys are going to be on the show that Mark, you being a local small business owner, and Mike, you're very engaged in politics and news. This is our chance to kind of dig into some of the politics of the day, because we don't do that on Saturday morning.
By design.
We stick to, fishing and hunting and trapping and all that fun outdoor stuff. So I do want to get into a couple of these issues with you guys here. But first, as we start the month of December here, Mark, and the temperature has drastically changed and it's very cold out there. What is happening out at the shop right now and with the guys in the outdoor community? It's still hunting season.
So it's made a lot of people not want to get out as much.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
it's just makes it kind of tough.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean,
it's getting better for me because there's less people on the lake.
Right. Well, and that's the other thing. So fishing, it could and should still be really good right now.
It's awesome
as long as the water's not freezing.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
It's just you have to change your tactics and such.
Yeah. It doesn't change that fast in the bigger bodies like Lake of the Ozarks.
Yeah.
It just made it better.
So the ice hasn't started, because I haven't really seen any ice.
You still got water temperatures in the low 50s.
Even in small subdivision ponds that I drive past or things like that, I haven't seen a lot of ice.
Now, I saw a lot of the smaller ponds driving to the shop today.
Oh, you did?
They were iced over.
But you're guessing those are like 10, 12 footers.
Yes, they're
Yeah.
shallow ponds.
And there's no movement in them.
And there's no
Large
movement
body
in
of
it.
water.
Once it gets, I noticed them, I had to unfortunately pull a bunch of my traps up just because with this weather, hard to keep working.
Yeah.
That things that the non-moving water, shallow water was starting to freeze over.
Is the catfishing industry? So we've had an incredible year when it comes to catfishing in our area and across the bi-state area, really. this year in 2025. We saw in just the Missouri River alone, we saw the Kansas state record fall. We saw the Ohio state record fall. We had a guy that caught what is almost certainly the world record, but it is unofficial because he was unable to get it weighed on a certified scale. But almost certainly the world record for catfish was even set this year in the Missouri River. And this time of year, Mark, when it's really cold outside, if it's not frozen, is it a lot like we talk about with Mike and bass fishing that you can really catch? You can still catch the big fish.
This is great time for big fish. I mean, Jason Big Cat Mathena last couple of weeks, 100-pounder each week. I mean, it's a great time to catch big fish.
Do they group up like bass?
They do group up.
Okay,
we got to get you a nickname.
Yeah.
We got Jason Big Cat. We got
Fishing Magician, 10 horsepower.
Fishing Magician.
I'm M squared from Gabe, but that that's not really that great of a
We need
nickname.
to get you I need to get you a cool fishing.
Yeah, you can't give yourself your own nickname.
I know.
A guy in my bass club tried that, and we made fun of him until the
Mark and I will try to come up with one.
Okay.
I was gonna say we could try to. We could get producer Johnny in on that too, but
yeah,
you probably don't.
That's frightening. Let's let Ashland in on it.
Exactly, but that is the case for you right now too, Mike.
The
water's not frozen. It's still a
great time, and it's only getting better, Tony. This is in my fishing report, but this weekend at the tournament results, I wasn't able to go due to some obligations, but 2 over 7 weighed in at the tournament, so the big ones are starting to feed.
Wow.
Yeah, so the big ones are coming. Yeah, 2 fish over 7 and one. It's the first 20-pound bag at Lake of the Ozarks in quite a while. So
we'll get in. We'll get
5 for 20 is a pretty good one.
Yeah, we'll get that story and those details this weekend and every weekend, of course. 11 a.m. Saturday mornings, Bluff City Outdoor Show here on News Talk STL. And of course, for all your fishing needs, all your bow hunting needs, all your trapping needs, if you want to shoot in the state-of-the-art archery range, Bluff City Outdoors, the place to go. Open 7 days a week there in Alton. Even
your Garmin needs. Tony.
I was going to say this year has been
this
has been. I was just going to say this has also been the year of the forward-facing sonar and that new technology.
That's not going anywhere.
And Mark and his team not only carry those products, the Garmin products, but also install and instruct.
I will say this, Mark. You should relay this to Jason. I've had 3 different people get in my boat and claim that's the cleanest forward-facing sonar picture, and it's all because of Jason's install.
Yeah, he does things a little different.
And he got me dialed on the settings before I left the shop. Gabe slightly tweaked him once he was in the boat with me, and then from that point on, everybody that gets in my boat like, wow, I've never seen that clean of a picture.
That's awesome. Bluff City Outdoors, about a mile east of Fast Eddie's there on East Broadway in Alton, open 7 days a week. Also check out Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and, of course, bluffcityoutdoors.com. All right, guys, want to get your thoughts on this. The headline that brought my attention to this story today, centered around radio host Charlemagne the God, because he is the latest.
Lenny.
He's just the latest talking about this issue. So we're gonna it can say that the Bluff City Outdoors show guys were the first or the latest to talk about this. Radio host Charlemagne the God is the latest to share his opinion on this issue as he praised. Lights just flickered in here.
Lenny heard us talking about him.
Lights did flicker, right? That wasn't me. Okay.
That wasn't you glitching.
Good. Yeah, thank you.
The simulation just took a hit.
Charlemagne praised an upcoming airline policy change, which says obese passengers should either do something about their obesity or be prepared to buy a second seat to accommodate their size. So this has as you can imagine, this has created some controversy, but beginning on January 27th of next year, 2026, January 27th, Southwest Airlines will ditch open seating, having previously had a pick any seat policy, allowing customers to purchase tickets in different boarding groups by selecting where they wanted to sit upon boarding the plane. The airline has also cautioned portly customers, quote, who encroach upon, this is their words, quote, who encroach upon the neighboring seats to proactively purchase the necessary number of seats prior to travel. Next month, however, such customers will be required to purchase an additional seat and pay any applicable seat fee at the airport. Charlemagne, as I mentioned, was talking about this on his radio show. He said, quote, "I don't have a problem with this at all, okay? If you are too big for one seat, then you just got to buy 2 seats. Don't act like the plane is doing something to you. You know how big you are."
I was encroached on my last flight back from Pittsburgh game.
Yeah.
So I'm down.
You agree with Charlemagne?
I do. I got a great story though. So I walked on. We were the last boarding group. We forgot to get our boarding passes the night before. So me, the wife, and kids were the last ones on. I walked on and I seen a large woman, but then a tiny, petite, elderly woman. There was a seat between them was open, and it was the first row. I'm like, at least I'll be the first one off. It's not that far of a flight from Pittsburgh. I hopped in there. She was all encroaching on me. Like I was sweaty on that side by the time. But when I woke up, she thanked me because they were getting ready to thinking about kicking her off to make room and make her go on another flight. And
she didn't kick her off, but she
was encroaching into me. She was encroaching, and
Yeah.
it was pretty rough. I'm not a little guy, and I was trying to make myself small. And the woman next to me had a dislocated shoulder and a sling on, so I didn't want to encroach onto her. But yeah, my entire side was was touching me, and I was sweaty on that side by the time we landed in St. Louis. But she thanked me repeatedly for sitting there.
That's cool.
Thanks for sharing that, Mike.
Yeah. Ashland's the only one in this room that could be classified as a small person. So I am certainly not a small
or a nice person,
but I'm all for this.
Same here.
Same here. Yeah, I'm for it.
Your thoughts, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bigger dude, and if I had to buy 2, it's just what I got to do. But I mean, when I was younger and used to have to travel a lot at McDonnell Douglas, that same thing happened there.
You got to pay more for your heavier bags. What's the difference?
The key sentence of the reason that I wanted to read the Charlemagne quote as part of this is that part of his quote that said, "Don't act like the plane did something to you." It's not the plane's fault. No,
they are making the seats smaller and smaller.
Then that's a problem. But if it's a normal size seat, it's not the plane, it's not the seats that are putting you in this position.
If a gymnast fills the seat up, the seat's too small.
Yeah.
There you go. That's a great point.
Much to your point, Tony, my daughter is tiny and so is my wife, and they both got that they sat down on the end, but the guys let them be in the middle, so they both had more room, and they were so happy that my wife and daughter are not huge people.
If big people have to buy 2 seats to sit, what if 2 tiny people just buy 1 seat?
That's awesome.
Theoretically, should work. It should go both ways.
Should go both ways. Yeah. One more here I wanted to touch on. This is 100% me just making problems for myself because this is going to be very unpopular. Today, I was driving on 270 at 270 and 40, where traffic is terrible all the time because of the construction and everything that's going on right there. And there was a
people are
massive funeral procession taking up, and I had to get onto Highway 40, which meant I had to cut through the funeral procession, which was nobody wanted me to do that, but I had to. Right. This thing was so long, like I could see the hurt, like there was no way to get in front of it. It was huge. And so, I did just cut through it, and so did many, many other people. Here's my question, Mark. I know why we do funeral processions. I know that it's a part of tradition, and are they that? Do we all have to drive right next to each other? Can we just say, "Hey, meet at the cemetery in 30 minutes," instead of bumper to bumper down the highway, especially in? I told you I'm going to just get in all kinds of trouble.
So I mean, I could see it both ways.
I'm calling out a funeral.
Yeah, I mean, I get nervous on them when you're going through the lights.
Yeah,
or the other people going the other direction, the cross traffic, are they going to stop?
Yes.
Are they going to slam into you? So.
Yeah.
The interstate's tricky. The interstate's real tricky.
Right.
Yeah.
I get it. And you should all want to drive together, but especially if you have a massive procession going down a busy highway where there's,
maybe you should break it up into thirds or something if there's that.
Is it really that? Is it just insulting to your loved one that if you just say, "Hey, hey everybody, the service just ended. It's 3:30. Meet at the cemetery at 4." Is that
should work too?
Right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, the family, I get it. The immediate family.
Yes.
You can have 3 or 4 cars. You don't need 150 cars.
I could barely see. Like when we got onto a straightaway, I could barely see the hearse at the beginning with the.
We won't have
on.
this problem at
It
my
was-
Viking funeral.
There you go. There you go.
Mark,
All
I'm
right.
going to let you have the fiberglass boat. We don't want to use that
No.
for the Viking funeral, but
I waited to the
It's-
very end to avoid all the hate.
You're gonna do it
calls
all. I mean, with the
the
archers,
archers and everything.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
I
just
love it.
bury me and put the wooden boat.
I
and-
love it. Just
yeah.
put it out to sea.
Yeah.
Yeah, flaming boat.
go to-
Yeah. there you
well,
go.
I've got to figure out what lake yet, but yeah, probably Lake of the Ozarks.
I was gonna say
maybe
there's only
Plain.
one.
Yeah.
There's only one when it comes with to you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I saved that to the very end, so all the hate calls.
Haters
can go
gonna hate,
to,
Tony.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. That's gonna do it for Colombo and Company this afternoon. Don't forget to tune in Saturday morning, 11 a.m. to the Bluff City Outdoor Show here on News Talk STL. And again, for all of your fishing needs, all of your bow hunting needs, all your trapping needs, and more, Bluff City Outdoors in Alton, Illinois, open 7 days a week. Follow them on Facebook and at bluffcityoutdoors.com. All right, we'll be back tomorrow at 2. In the meantime, keep it here for the O'Reilly Report next, and the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show on News Talk STL.
So I hear an out-of-towner asking someone, where's the best place to eat? Before they could respond, I said, Cafe Napoli. Where? Well, I said, Cafe Napoli in Clayton, Napoli 2 in Town and Country, Napoli 3 in St. Charles, right next door to Napoli C, and then you got Napoli Kirkwood, plus you got Napoli Pizza and Pasta in Chesterfield. You'll find Napoli everywhere. It's not too early to book a party and buy gift cards. Cafe Napoli.
Why are you going to work? It's Sunday.
It's a brand new show on